the one who is free from that sense of doership. Yasya sarve samarambha kama sankalpa varjitaha jnanagni dagdha karmanam tamahu panditam buddha. So the person who is free from all undertakings, all forms of desire-based actions. So the knowledge, jnana agni, the fire of knowledge, it will burn all the karma. So this is a way to break free from all the bondage of karma. So this is some contemplation for this. What is the relation between wisdom and the actions of my daily life? So first, we have to just be able to see in our life where I'm acting, what decisions I'm making, how I go about with my actions. They are based on my prevailing sense of wisdom. So that is why, many times we seek great realized souls or greater people who have greater wisdom than us, because they can give us a better perspective. When I reflect on the past, can I observe that the nature of actions at any point in my life was based on the degree of wisdom I then had. So sometimes, we hear people also say this, right? Oh, I did it when I was, young, or I did it then. At that time, I didn't know. So this is also, in the present also, it's like that. Many of our actions is based on the lesser degree of wisdom. How can I operate from a higher level of wisdom to guide my actions? So this is different ways. One is having a calm mind, which can give the best guidance for us. And the second is knowledge from the scriptures. So these are all means where we can operate from a higher level of wisdom. And then, of course, seeking guidance from those who have that high level of wisdom. Does being free from personal desires improve the mental and spiritual quality of all my works? So, personal desires here meaning that desires which is not in the sense of our needs, the desires in the sense of a something which is like not going to help us. It is going to make us restless. That kind of a kampa sankalpa, that kind of a desires. So we all have to reflect on these assets. Okay. Okay, so now we are doing the chapter 4, and again, as I had mentioned last time, the name, our previous classes, the name of this chapter is Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. The jnana, the knowledge, what is the means of that? That through that knowledge, I am able to renounce karma and the bondage of karma. So this, I mentioned, there is a book I had written before called Breaking Free from Karma. Of course, there I focused very little on the actual non-dual knowledge. The last chapter I did that, but mostly it was on how to prepare for being free from the karmic bondage by freeing our samskaras. Because what is it at the daily level that causes us problems is all these vasanas and samskaras, sometimes called as kleshas. So in fact, in the shloka we saw just before, yadricha labha santushta dvandvatita vimatsaraha, that a person who is content with what comes to him, that person will not be caught with this all these kleshas. Vimatsara is jealousy, which is not mentioned clearly in that kleshas as such, but when we talk about kleshas, sometimes we are talking of what is called as this in more in the Vedantic thing, it's called as Shadripus. Shadarshas or Shadripus mostly. Shadripus refer to six kind of a six enemies or six things which are obstacles in our path of progress. Six emotions or six tendencies. What are these? One of this we have been discussing karma, desires. And then when the desires are not met, there is Krodha. So we discussed this. When the desires are not met, there is anger. But what happens when the desire is met? Huh? Can anybody guess? We may say that, okay, when desire is met, I'm happy. So, are we really happy? What emotion will come when the desires are met?
Abhinivesha.
Want more, want more.
Want
More
more.
desires.
More
Raga.
desires.
Lobha.
Great.
Raga.
Lobha. That raga or lobha. So the desires not met will lead to anger, frustration, and stress and all that. But desires met, will actually not solve the problem. It will only create more desires. So this is a third ripu. Kama, Krodha, and the third one is Lobha. huh? And what else it will do, whether anger or whether you are filled with greed, you will come to what is called as delusion, moha. huh? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, four. So, so this is the next one. And then comes what? When you have something, when you are having more than others have, that leads to pride. Hmm? When you have more than others have, or when you are more somewhat privileged, generally, even in terms of knowledge, we have to be always on vigil. So this thing of mother, the fifth one is called mother, arrogance or pride. huh? And then if you don't get what somebody else has, if somebody is having something which you don't have or you cannot have, what does that lead to? Anybody?
Jealousy.
Jealousy. So that is Matsarya.
Matsarya.
Yeah. So Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mother Matsarya.
Moha.
Moha. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada
Moha.
Matsarya. So these are the six Shadripus. And these are like an expanded kleshas. The Raga Dvesha we say in a simple things we just usually say Raga Dvesha. But in a more deeper sense, it is these six. So this is what he is saying, in that mantra here he is mentioning a person who is content with what he gets. How do you stay content with what you get? You know that I have worked for it and it will come to me. So there's a trust in something higher, that if I do the right things will come to me. And if somebody has cheated me or done something wrong, and they will be punished for their misdeeds. And also, if I don't react in a negative way and add on to that, then again what will happen? I will be served justice in a deeper, higher way. So this is understanding a person who is free from this kartrutva and bhoktrutva bhavana, doership and enjoyership. He is going to have this. Now, we this shlokas here is referring to somebody who is almost like a equivalent of a sthita prajna. Why? Because he's acting as it was a shariram kevalam karma. He acts for the maintenance of the body, what needs to be done, but he's not overly identified with the body and the mind. So when the person is not that kind of had this kind of an over identification, then what happens? Then that person, that is what it vimatsaraha sama siddhau asiddhau cha kritva apina nibadyate. He is even minded whether in success or in failure. So he will do his work and he will do whatever he needs to do to take care of the body, mind, and other things. But what happens? He's not bound by that karma. That actions of karma will not bind him. Hmm? So he's freed. He is that freed from that bondage of karma, because that sense of doership, identity, the one who is identified, is not there. So now today's shloka, we will actually discuss a very important aspect of yagnya, and in that yagnya, the highest yagnya will be mentioned. Yagnya, as we know, is a sacrifice. But today we will discuss this Jnana Yagnya part, how the Yagnya will happen. So I had mentioned, I don't know if anybody remembers, there was another name for this chapter also. Anybody remembers? Madhusudana Saraswati had mentioned a name for this chapter. I mentioned in one of the previous class. There is, of course, Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga, but there was one more name. Okay. So this name is based on the shloka we will look at today. So it is called as this, the name I had mentioned was Brahmarpana Yoga. So this was mentioned in a, I had just briefly mentioned that, okay. So let us see this. So the Brahmarpana Yoga is this is reference to this mantra, this very famous mantra, 24th mantra, which many people, especially who have gone to Indian ashrams or in any holy places, you would have heard this people say when they have food. Just before food, this mantra is mentioned. Okay, so let us first chant this mantra. Shloka start. Okay, let us start from shloka. This one. First, let us chant this one, which we did last class, but from here. So please, you may repeat after me. Yadrichalabhasantushto
यदृच्छालाभसन्तुष्टो
द्वन्द्वातीतो विमत्सरः
द्वन्द्वातीतो विमत्सरः
समसिद्धावसिद्धौ च
समसिद्धावसिद्धौ च
कृत्वापि न निबध्यते
कृत्वापि न बध्यते.
Okay, so now let us chant this one from 23 onwards. Gata sangasya muktasya
गतसङ्गस्य
ज्ञानवस्थितचेतसः
ज्ञानवस्थितचेतसः
यज्ञायाचरतः कर्म
यज्ञायाचरतः कर्म
समग्रं प्रविलीयते
समग्रं प्रविलीयते.
ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्महविर्
ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्मवेत्
ब्रह्माग्नौ ब्रह्मणाहुतम्
ब्रह्माग्नौ ब्रह्मणाहुतम्
ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्तव्यम्
ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्तव्यम्
ब्रह्मकर्म समाधिना
ब्रह्मकर्मसमाधिना
दैवमेवापरे यज्ञ
दैवमेवापरे यज्ञ
योगिनः पर्युपासते
योगिनः पर्युपासते.
ब्रह्माज्ञावपरे यज्ञ
ब्रह्माज्ञावपरे यज्ञम्
यज्ञनैवोपजुह्वति
यज्ञनैवोपजुह्वति.
So this mantra here is going to now expound on this topic of yagnya. So next for about 10-15 shlokas, the topic of yagnya will come, about 10-12 shlokas. So in this shlokas, first we should understand when we talk about yagnya here, it is just used as a symbolism only, because in the Vedas, the Karma Kanda, the yagnya is discussed quite extensively. So a lot of concepts come from there. But in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord actually makes that concept of yagnya in a very kind of a symbolic way, not in a physical yagna way, but he uses the metaphor of yagna. Hmm? So what happens in a yagna? In a general yagna, what was happen is there is a fire. So an offering is made to some god, some deity, or some aspect of divine with the desire for a result by a person who does the yajna through the help of some priests and other things. So this person has a certain desire. So a lot of desires, a lot of yajnas, Ashwamedha yajna, these are all big yajnas they are done. So then there are simple yajnas, putre for this desiring a children they will do yajna, for somebody to go to heavens they will do yajna, to somebody to be established as a supreme ruler they will. So all this were present in previous times where people used to follow the yajna in such a way. Nowadays also they are there, but not in that extent as it was there before. But in that sense of yajna, there is a person who has a certain intention, desire. It may be a higher desire, not maybe a worldly desire. It may be sometimes higher desire, but that also he has a desire. And with that, he offers something into the fire. Usually, it is using the ghee and the rice and other things they will give as an offering with the intention that it may go to that certain deity, that certain god, or this or symbolic of that. And with the result that is expected is that fulfillment of that desire. So this is a general thing. However, here it is a little different. How is it mentioned here? So here in the first one, we see this point. So now the person who is free from the doership and free from the desire for results, the karma yogi, whom we discussed, that person is mentioned to start off with. The person who has none of these kind of desires, he's free from sense of being the doer and of a desire for certain result, but yet that person will do yagna. How will he do yagna? Gata sangasya muktasya jnanavastita chetasa. The person who is freed from this attachment, the liberated one, whose mind is established in that pure wisdom that I am not the doer, I am not the karta, I am not the bhokta. We had discussed in that shloka which had a long bhashya, right? Karmanya karmani f pashyet. In that action, he sees that actionless self, that Atma is free from actions. He is able to see that. And in that inaction, when somebody is not acting, yet he sees that ego in that person who is not free from the doership. So, akarmani karma yaf pashyat. So, the both ways, the person who has done that, such a person has that pure seeing. So, he is free from that attachment and is established in that supreme knowledge that in all actions, I am that actionless pure Atma, that self. And now he says, Yagnya charata karma. So he goes about doing that action physically, mentally. How does he do it? As yagna. Like everybody is doing actions, he also does actions. Like just because a person has knowledge, he will not retire and go to Himalayas or something. So this is the Bhagavad Gita's message, right? Where you are, there you can attain that highest realization and continue doing what you're doing. So this is where he says, the person who gata sangasya muktasya jnana vastita, but be established in that knowledge. That intellect is established in that knowledge, and he goes about doing action. Yagnya charata karma. And what happens then? If he's doing actions, there has to be a result. This is the law of nature, right? Every action has a result. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Even science has come up with that, right? So, but here he says the person with this attitude, with this wisdom, and this knowledge, he is doing actions. Karma samagram praviliyate. All their actions are dissolved, meaning he is free from all the bondage of karma. Karma cannot bind him, nor will his his own habitual tendencies also will not bind him. The not just karma, the samskaras also will not bind him. When he is done with accomplishing what he has to, he can easily let go of every samskaras. So this is the idea. Now, in order to explain this mantra has come, which is again one of a very beautiful mantra, but it takes a little bit of analysis and like a proper understanding to really appreciate this mantra. So we will see why, because there are also people who have interpreted in different ways. So we will look at how to understand this mantra. So first, let us look the mantra word by word, because we will go into a lot of analysis. So let us try to first understand each part of it. Everyone try to pay attention to the words, although some might be in Sanskrit. I will try to explain. So first is Brahmarpanam. Huh? In fact, when you pronounce, sometimes they sometimes chant as Brahma. But general pronunciation we use in most of our things. It is Brahmarpanam. So Brahmarpanam, meaning you are that offering, that offering, that sacrifice, whatever yagnya we are doing, it is not for anything else. It is not for any desires. It is for Brahman. Brahman here represents that supreme reality, that one underlying reality. Whatever, it's not just as we say, like, okay, this deity, this God. It is that underlying one supreme reality. That nirguna nirakara parabrahmam, we say, the uh, later it will come, the Purushottama, he will say. So that one deity from which everything arises, not just other gods, all of us arise. So that one reality, to that reality, we are making that offering, arpana. Arpana means offering. So that offering is for the Brahman. So this is why this is used while eating food sometimes, is because this is the attitude with which we should have, not just eat food, but do all our actions. Food is a representation of one of our actions, but all our daily life actions, whatever we do from morning to evening, it should be with this attitude. This is the message. Brahma Havir. Brahma Havir means that which is offered in that fire. What is offered in the fire in Yagnya? It is generally the ghee. But other things can also be offered. Brahma Havir. Brahmagno. What is it offered into? It is offered into fire. And the fire here is also called as Brahman. So the ghee or the havi, the accessory, that thing that is offered is Brahman. The offering is for Brahman. It is offered in the sacrificial fire of Brahman. And who is making the offering? Brahmana Hutam. Brahman is the one who is making that offering. So it is not I am making offering. This person who is doing is not making offering. It is a Brahman itself who is making that offering. Now, this may seem ridiculous, right? How is that all this is that same thing? So this is the vision of a realized being. Brahmaiva tena gantavyam. One who is able to see such a thing. Brahma karma samadhina. The one who is able to see Brahman in every action. His mind is absorbed, is resolved in this reality of the truth that he sees nothing but Brahman in everything. We say, right, the vision of oneness. Sometimes people say this, right? The non-duality or the vision of oneness. The one reality alone is there. So these are ways of saying it. What happens to that person? Brahmaivatena gantavyam. What does he get after doing all this? If somebody works for a month, they get a salary or they get some promotion. Here, no, he attains that Brahman itself. Huh? So this is where, to understand this mantra, see, there is a bit of a language analysis. In our normal language, it's a dualistic language. Most times we use dualistic language. Like we say, if I'm wearing blue shirt or orange shirt. This person is wearing blue or white shirt. So these are all different things, in a sentence. But then there are some sentences in which it is everything is common. There is a one reality that is mentioned. So in Sanskrit, it is called a samadadikaran. Samanadikaranam. So, Samanadikaranam means that the whole sentence is representing that one thing again and again. That common substratum is again and again mentioned. Like some prayers, we chant, they are also of that Samanadikaran. Like the prayer we chanted. Um, Vasudeva Sutan Devam Kamsa Chanura Mardanam. So that Devaki Paramanandam, Krishnam Vande. So that Vasudeva, Krishna, that same thing we again and again come back to in different kind of representatives, different kind of a like invocations. There is nowadays, of course, the Mahashivratri preparation is going on in many ashrams and they do a lot of activities. So one mantra you will hear often. Namaste stu Bhagavan Vishweshwaraya Mahadevaya Triambakaya Tripurantakaya Trikagnikalaya Kalagni Rudraya Neelakantaya Mrityunjayaya. So all this are what? These are all names of that one thing. But we are all saying Namo, Namo, Namo again and again. I bow to this, I bow to that. So it is all representing that same God again and again. So similarly here it is Samanadikaran. What is that one thing again and again that is being said here? It is the Brahman. Again and again it is being told about that Brahman. Now, how do we look at something in the world? When I look at something in the world, there is usually a dualistic perspective, or sometimes it is a trinity perspective, we say. How is it like our perception is like, uh, whatever we are doing, I am talking to you. So there is dualistic, I and you. So this is two things here we are representing. But there is also, we can look at it from Trinity. I am the one who is doing something, and I'm talking. So I'm doing something, that action, and that to whom I'm talking is you. So there are three things here from my perspective. Also, there's three things. Like for example, if we're meditating, on something, on a god, we are meditating on, let's say, Lord Shiva. So I am the one who is meditating, and the action of meditation, and that one on whom I'm meditating. So these are all different entities. So, where as long as our perception is like this, then we are always, there is always a limitation. I am this and I have to do this, or I'm here and I have to do that. So, in this perspective of action, there are three aspects now. What are the three aspects? There is karma, action that I am doing. And in that action, there is a accessory through which I am doing. Like I'm talking to you through my mouth, or I'm talking to you through this computer. So this computer is accessory, or my mouth is accessory. And there is a pala for that. What happens that hopefully you understand, or you get that mess, or you hear what I'm saying. So there is a pala. So all actions are also like this. They're always based on a dualistic or a trinity kind of a vision. But when a person has that full realization of truth, when a person realizes that I am not the doer, there is nothing I'm doing, there is no means through which doing, then what happens? This is that one underlying reality in everything that is happening. In that action, there is that one reality. In that accessory, there is that one reality. And in what he attains, the result, that phala. So this is a famous thing it usually mentioned. Karma, karka, phala. Action, accessory, and result. For everything you do, you will see this. If you have to go from one place to another, like let's say You have to go from, somewhere in Rishikesh to Haridwar. So from this place, I leave. The action. I go on a scooter or a car or something. Then the accessory is that scooter or car, and I get there to Haridwar. So this action got me to that place. But here in this action, in this yagna of Brahma, what is the action, what is the accessory, and what is the result? That is the fundamental thing you will see in this mantra. So, what is the action here? Anybody who wants to guess? So, what is the action that is being done in this?
Offering the sacrifice to God.
Very good. So the offering is done. In the yagna, the offering is being done. So how is it being done? Through what? Through what means is it being done?
Fire.
No, fire. No, how? What through how it is being done?
Ghee.
Ghee. So here it is ghee or the whatever offering is given. So the offering is you're doing to, but who? How is the means through that ghee or through things you're offering to that person? And what is the result here? Of course, is dependent on whatever yagna, that the intention, that result that person had. That result that person is supposed to attain. But here in this thing, what the Bhagavan is saying is that first person who is offering that thing, that person who is offering is also Brahman, and that offering that is being done, meaning the whatever yagna is that is being done, that also is Brahman, and in that fire it is being offered in the ghee, that means through which it is done, that also is Brahman. And what does he attain? He attains that Brahman, that one reality is being so. This is trying to shift us from the dualistic vision to the non-dualistic one vision. That one reality is all that is existing. So this vakya becomes what? In that case, it becomes a samanadikaran, meaning it becomes a it becomes a common thing that is being mentioned here. So words that are not common are I mentioned, like I am wearing orange, you're wearing blue or white. So that is not common that in that sentence. But in a sentence like, for example, our Mahavakyas, Tattvamasi. So those are all Mahavakyas. It is all Samanadikaran. That Tat, thou art that, thou that are all representing that same thing. So here also that Brahman is the one thing that is being represented. Now there is one more point here. This point is going a little deeper, but this is where this true understand appreciation of this mantra will come. See, nowadays, this language is common, especially a lot of new age people sometimes who come to me and say, oh yeah, Swamiji, I know everything is one. My enemy or my friend, they're also one. They're also, in them also there is God. In me also there is God. In everybody there is God. So now, is this mantra taken like that? Is there any difference by saying that in everything there is God? We sometimes say this, in this mountain there is God, in this person there is God, in everyone there is God, or inside everyone there is God. This is one understanding. But if we really ask ourselves, when we say this, is this mantra saying this? This is where Shankaracharya's kind of wisdom comes in. So he says this mantra is not just saying that. This mantra is not just saying that in the ladle there is God, in the ghee there is God, in that person who is giving there is God. It is not just saying that. So if we ask him deeper and try to understand what he's saying, he's saying what is called as Bhada Samanadikaran. This is another way of saying negation. We talked about this Adhyaropa Pavada. So what is Adhyaropa? Adhyaropa is like saying, in this stone, I will think of Lord Vishnu or Lord Ganesh. In this stone image, I superimpose the idea of God. And similarly, if something is there, I will superimpose an image, an idea of something. Like for anything, if somebody is evil-minded, I put that idea that in him there is God. So someday he or she will become pure. So this is one way. So this is called as adhyaropa. Huh? But here when we say bhaga samanadikarana, wherein that substratum of the word is negated further. What is the negation that is done is that whatever offering through which we are offering, or that ladle that is offering, that ghee that offering, that ladle is not there. That ghee is not there. That person who is offering is not there. So the only thing that there is Brahman. So this is, the real of non-dualistic way. When we say non-duality, we don't generally say everything is one, 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 right? I mean, this is how the true understanding of non-duality, what we say, Advaita and all we say, right? So what is the understanding is that everything is there, and in that there is God is one understanding. Another deeper understanding is that nothing is there. The only reality is God. What is the example for this? The example is our famous snake rope example. So in that vision we have of that snake, is a snake there at all? When we see in a dark, so the snake is not there at all. Huh? But so we don't say in that snake there is a rope, right? So what we really are saying is that snake is not there at all. It just appears to be there. The reality is the rope. So similarly, this whole of what we experience in this world, including ourselves and the world, right? This thing is an appearance. The reality, this what we appears in, see, somewhere in me there is God is a still a limited understanding. It is a better understanding than the worldly understanding, but still it is a limited understanding. The higher understanding is I am not, this sacrifice is not, this thing is, this result is not. The only thing that there is this Brahman. So that is what this mantra is saying, and this is what is called as, this is the supremacy of what is called as Jnana Yagnya. So what is happening in Jnana Yagnya is this, that whatever ideas we have, whatever notions we have, that notions we are sacrificing. We are, so when we say Jnana Yagnya, that wrong notions we are sacrificing for that real understanding of that supreme truth. So this is so here that idea that the ladle, that ladle is there, the ghee is there, that is given up for what? That is given up for the reality. In that ladle, there is only Brahman. In that ghee, the ghee is not the reality. The Brahman is the reality. So similarly, when we eat food, or whatever action we do, but example of food is in that eating. That eating is done by the Lord. It is the thing eaten also is the Lord, and the food goes alone to that Lord. So that is that what we call as ultimate prasada. When that pure understanding is there, that this I am not also eating, I am the food that is eaten is also not me, and that offering of that food that is also going to that Lord alone. So this understanding, is where is that complete that jnana yagnya, that purifying, where it is not just putting an idea superimposition. So that if we just superimpose idea that in that stone there is God, then it is only half of that jnana yagnya. So the real jnana yagnya is when we realize that stone is not, I'm superimposing the idea on that stone, but that stone is not the reality. The God is the reality. So this is where the vision is purified. That yogi or the jnani's vision is purified, and that is why you will see in the next mantra why this kind of office is a highest kind of worship. He says Daivamevapare yajnam yoginah paryupasate. So some yogis, meaning some devotees, they offer sacrifice to gods, different gods. Huh? But Brahmagno apare yajnam, yajne naivopajuyati. Those who have the true knowledge, those who have the true vision, what do? They offer their own self, their own egoic identification as a sacrifice by that self. That ego is offering the ego itself in that fire of Brahman. So that yagna that is done, that I mentioned in the last class, I think one of previous classes, the real surrender when we talk about, the real surrender is not that I offer myself to the Lord. The real surrender is seeing through this ego and realizing this ego doesn't have a reality. Hmm? There is really no sense of ego. It is like a ghost-like appearance. It doesn't appear, it is not real at all. So that is the wisdom. Through that wisdom, the true surrender can happen. So here, that is why, jnana yagnya. What is the highest form of jnana yagnya? When we understand this ego is really not there. Bhada samanadikaran. This negation has happened. Okay. So just take in this relation, just take last two more points. There are other versions also, and I will just mention that for people who sometimes may come across, like if you're reading somewhere else or some other teacher, they may sometimes say this. Although it is best to not get too much into too many different analysis at this stage. Later stage, it's okay, but still I will mention, like one of the ways, a dualistic way where the Brahman is the creator. So that creator has created all these things. And so to him again we are offering back everything. So this is another vision, the dualistic kind of vision. So I am different from the Lord, so I offered this to the Lord. And through this ghee is also separate from the Lord, so it is offered back to the Lord. So this is a kind of a worshipful dualistic way of looking at this shloka. Another one is what is mostly from the Visishta Advaita, the Ramanuja's kind of teaching. So where he mentioned as that vision of meditating on the Lord, that we are all part of that Lord, that he uses that later it will come, Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke. So I am a part of the Lord. The Lord is that reality. So what I, being a smaller version of that Supreme Lord, I will offer to that Lord. So in this vision, I am still a limited being, but I offer to that Lord, and through this thing, he makes a separation. Chit achit. I am a sentient being, and I use an insentient thing, jada vastu. Like this ghee and all is jada. So I use that, and as a sentient being, I use this insentient thing as a form of worship to the Lord. So there it is taken all in that form of worship. But here in this context of what I explained, it is taken from that perspective of that one vision of reality. So here when we look at this next mantra, 25, we will see this where lot of offerings we made to God. So this mantra is not really talking of that kind of offering where I am separate and I am offering like that, because that you do for all other lesser deities. You want lesser prayers, worldly wishes, like people say, right? Like you want money, pray to Lakshmi God. You want some problem resolved, pray to Lord Ganesha. See, all these are in a way we are although the essence of Ganesha, Lakshmi and all are the same Parabrahman, but yet when we take them as a individual separate deities, huh, then what happens, the all these offerings we are doing is not the offering of the ego. It is not the offering of our upadhis. Huh? That idea we have that I am limited, it will continue to be there. I as an ego will continue to be there. Huh? Because, and this is why he's saying that others who offer in that fire of Brahman, that self itself, that in the yagna, that yagna itself is offered. That is the highest yagna, because in there what happens, you are able to negate that limited sense of self and realize that I who am offering is that Brahman, and I'm offering it to that Brahman. So that is that this is that complete, that establishing in that oneness. That idea of that oneness has in the through the negation and the negation and that establishing of that substratum. That Brahman is that common substratum. We say common denominator sometime, the common denominator is established and everything else is negated. Okay, so this here, when we say Brahman is the fire, basically in that fire, that what is offered is that our wrong knowledge, or we can say our ignorance. Our ignorance and our wrong knowledge is offered in that fire, and that is when it becomes a jnana yagnya. Okay, so okay, so this is the Yagnya perspective, and now he will go on for about another 8-9 shlokas. He will talk about different Yagnyas, having first mentioned the supreme Yagnya, which is the Brahmarpanam, the Jnana Yagnya of that self. In the next few shlokas will explain the lesser Yagnya, the lesser Yagnya of the offering to different gods and the what and the results and all that will be mentioned to give the full perspective. And then he will come back to establishing why jnana is the supreme means of liberation. Okay, so we will leave it at this. This is, of course, a very a very oft quoted shloka. A lot of people use this shloka in the food, and the way many variations of this many yogis and teachers have created. But this shloka is recited in many places, and as I mentioned, the other way of seeing this jnana karma sannyasa yoga, the name of the chapter is Brahmarpana yoga. So it's the same thing. Okay, anybody has any questions, comments?
Swami,
Yeah, Flavia.
for example, you asked on the beginning what happens when we realize a desire and we have other desires, but I feel also fear.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
Yes, fear,
Yes.
because I have fear that I'm enjoying something and I have fear that I will lose it.
Correct. Yes, very true.
I don't know if it's also possible to see like that.
Yeah, true. That is true. That in fact in our kleshas we mentioned the abhinivesha, so that is also one of the kleshas. But generally when we say krodha, we put krodha in the category of all those dvesha categories. So that includes anger, fear, anxiety, and all that. So these are all things. So that is true. Part of it is it will come later. There are two things that everybody is seeking. You want something that you don't have. This is called as, anybody remembers? The first one is called yoga. Getting something that we don't have. Then the second one is holding on to something you already have. Like if you become the minister or something, then you want to hold on to that position, right? So that is also a very strong need, a kind of a compulsive kind of a samskara. What is it called? Anybody remember?
Moha.
No, I mean, I told the first one, it is usually set together. The first one is yoga, second one is Kshema. Very good. Yeah, yoga kshema. So this is a normal tendency for most humans. It's called yoga kshema. Of course, the Lord will say, to one who is devoted to me, I will take care of their yogakshema. But that what you don't have, you want to have. That is a desire. And holding on to what you want to have, that is also a compulsive desire. These are yogakshema. And this is the, in the yogic psychology, this is the underlying tendencies which motivates most people's actions. Yogakshema. Okay, Okay, Yeah, and self, yes, yeah. Basically, he's saying that 25 is related to that self-inquiry of Ramana Maharshi. So some yogis offer sacrifice to devas, meaning normal people who are not doing self-inquiry. Others offer the ego as sacrifice by the self into the fire of Brahman. So it is that self-inquiry. But also I had mentioned that act of surrender in the thing. It is actually self-inquiry only. When we ask, who am I? That is the true act of surrender. So yeah, here again it is that. So again here it is that self-inquiry through has in the earlier shloka that context was set for it. When we negate everything else. So what we call in our usual thing as neti neti. Neti neti is that apavada shloka. You negate, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the experiencer, I'm not the doer. See all this negation when it's happening, then that samanadikaran will remain. That substratum will remain. And what is that substratum? That which cannot be negated. So that self-inquiry is like that. Ultimate way of self-inquiry is that when you can no longer negate, like even in Drigdrishya we see, those who are familiar with Drigdrishya. So when you're no longer having a drishya, then it is said that Drig, that is you. That seer is you. So, okay. All right. So the Yagnya Prakriya or the way of teaching through the methodology of Yagnya. So this will go on in the next few shlokas, but we will quickly go through the next shlokas because now I've already established this main shloka, and other shlokas are just in order to have a comparative sense. What if the Yagnya is not done for Brahman? What will happen? So just to that's why the Lord will say that, and then he will establish the Jnana Yagnya, the supremacy of Jnana Yagnya. There's just one point, like those who are familiar with Sanskrit. So when we talk about action, usually it revolves in our Sanskrit grammar. There is 7 cases. In that 7 cases of them, almost 5 of them is representing that action in some way, like the doer of action to whom it is done and to how it is done, for, by, and all that. So some people say that this shloka represents that all those different 5 things of that same one entity. So anyway, this is for those who are familiar with the Sanskrit cases. Okay. Okay, all right. So we will leave it at this. We'll say a closing prayer. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Narayanaya.